Good evening, everybody. If I could kindly have your attention. For those, and probably most of you who know who I am, my name is Robert Kugler. I'm the police chief in Saddlebrook, but I'm also the master of ceremonies for this event. And I've been the master of ceremonies for not only many gatherings and meetings and sessions, but for many years, and I'm looking to have someone take over my place. So I see a couple of special guests in the audience that I'll be looking at and fingering, including some of my good friends. But good evening once again, everybody. Welcome back from 2019. It is 2020 now, so Happy New Year. Probably we're getting over saying Happy New Year and Happy Holidays and all that, but since I didn't see some of you since last year, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you very much. At this time, we would like to start our meeting. And as you all know, we start our meeting with a general introduction of special guests. We pledge the allegiance. I say a short prayer, unless there's someone more holier in this room than I am, and that doesn't take much. So if there's a minister in this room, please stand up and come up here, do that prayer before I do it. But at this point, I'll ask you to please rise. I'd like to ask our baritone, Hungmin Lee, to start us off with the national anthem, please. Honor America.
Forsaken you see by the sully light, was so proudly we heard at the twilight's last gleaming, whose rose stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the rampart we watched was so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that a flame was still there. Oh, say thus the star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Let's give him a hand. Kindly remain standing and join with me in a prayer. Oh, Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening that you have given us. Not only this evening, but all the evenings of our lives. We thank you for putting us together in harmony and network. We thank you for providing us with the guidance and leadership of our special guests. Father, we thank you also for the parents and the guardians and those who you have given the opportunity to send their children, their loved ones here to this ceremony, this event, this monthly gathering of the United States Law Enforcement Coalition. We ask you to continue your blessings on all of us, Father, and give us your guidance, your light, because we know all things come from you, and we are blessed because of it. Father, thank you so much. In the name of the Father, the Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Please have a seat. Okay, as we normally do, we're going to just make a brief introduction of our special guests that are in the room tonight, and then we're going to break, and then we're going to go to our dinner that is every month prepared by our members and our members' parents, so we thank you very much. First of all, on your list, if you have the book in front of you, he's not here tonight because he had a conflict last minute, but he's the Bergen County Prosecutor, Mark Marcella. You'll get to meet him in a future gathering, and he's the Chief Law Enforcement Officer in the County of Bergen, but unfortunately he could not be here right now. He may walk in a little later, but I believe he's conflicted tonight. Second of all, and we have a all-star lineup here tonight, so excuse me, I don't know who's more important, but anyway, He's a good friend of mine. He happens to be the police chief in a town called Rutherford here in Bergen County. And right now, he's just installed as the president of all the Bergen County police chiefs, John Russo, chief in Rutherford. I know I've been here with our next special guest. He's been a special guest of this organization for many times in the past. But he is a special agent with the Drug Enforcement Administration, Anthony Jennings. And of course, our all-too guy that is all too ready to take over my role as the Master of Ceremonies and Facilitator of this event. But if anybody is more excited than coming here and being a part of this program, it's this next gentleman. You know who he is. State Investigator for New Jersey Department of Consumer Affairs, Ron Reagan. We also have another special guest. Her name is Genevieve Bargerano, and she is a... And I'm no big deal, but I'm up here too. Okay, so we'll have all those special guests reintroduce themselves after our meal break and come up here and give a little bit of introduction about themselves and who they are and what they do for us. But at this time, please, let's go to our break. We'll reconvene in about 20-30 minutes from now. Please continue and help yourself back at that table there for some refreshments. Thank you.
Afterwards, especially the very dangerous ones that work in your benefit, you know, you have that adrenaline rush and then the adrenaline dump, which is difficult, especially on, say, a midnight tour. You're rolling around with a bad guy, or, you know, wrestling a gun away from somebody. You make the arrest, and then you go back out on the road before the end of the shift. You're just driving around, no one's around, and it just keeps replaying in your head. So it's interesting. It's definitely an interesting career. Anything else, sir?
Yes. Regarding education, did you go to law enforcement right after high school or right after college, or in a follow-ups or for those students who are aspiring to go into law enforcement? What would you recommend, right after high school or right after college?
So I was in my senior year of college when I went to the police academy. It was my goal to finish college first and then either go to the FBI or become a police officer. I didn't want to take any tests until I graduated. However, when I was doing my internship, that's when I learned how competitive local law enforcement was, and I was told just take the tests, get on the list, because positions need to open for you to be hired, and you have to take a test and come out on a list. So I remember I got lucky. We had openings, I took my test, and I was hired a few months later. A friend of mine was on the list right after. He was right behind me on the list, took the same test, didn't get hired for another 6 years. So it's very competitive. As chief, I like seeing my officers have a college education. It's not, in most agencies, it's not required. Civil service is not required, but I have seen the benefits of a college education, and I like seeing my candidates have it. I've hired, since I've been chief, I hired, I think 16 officers, and 2 of them did not have college degrees. However, they were in their senior years as well, so they're going to finish up. But it definitely helps. You learn how to talk to people. You know, you enhance your social skills from just high school because you get to interact with other people. You know, as a police officer, you don't get to pick and choose who you interact with. You get a call, you have to answer it, and you have to, you know, be able to communicate with people. So that's a big thing. Education is big for me, and work experience as well. Thank you.
Right. So at this time, let's give a warm welcome for Anthony Jennings, Special Agent, Drug Enforcement Administration.
Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? So, I knew something was up when Daniel kept texting me over Christmas time. Hey, Anthony, Merry Christmas. Hey, Anthony, Happy New Year. How you doing, Anthony? How's your family doing? I said, I guarantee when I get back to work, he's going to be calling me for one of his functions. And sure enough, the first day back to work, hey, Anthony, hope you can make it. But of course I'm here. It's always a pleasure to be here around such great young men and women. I've been here a couple times before, so I've heard you guys do your presentations. I met some of the parents. Of course, it's great to be around 2 police chiefs here. So in my current assignment, I'm a special agent in charge of recruiting for the whole state of New Jersey. So anyone that wants to be a federal agent or anyone wants to do a college internship like you guys are doing high school internship, I oversee the internship program also for the whole state of New Jersey. I started my career as a campus police officer in Newark. Then I went to Essex County Prosecutor's Office as a county detective. So just like the chiefs up here, I went to the regular 22-week police academy. I graduated from that also. And my first 5 years with DEA, I did in New York City. Then I left New York City and I went to Philly. Then I left Philly and I came back home to Newark. Also during my law enforcement career, I was also doing a military career at the same time. So besides my law enforcement career, I also have 23 years in the military. So I got an opportunity to manage soldiers in the military on different levels. And I want to introduce you to this young man right here. His name is Caesar Plazas, born and raised in Elizabeth from a Colombian background. Caesar was a Capitol Police officer for 3 years. So Caesar went from seeing Bernie Sanders in the elevator with ice cream to now going to Quantico where the chief went to the National Academy to be a federal agent with DEA. So I wanted to bring him here so you guys can see, here's somebody young who started his career as a regular Capitol Police officer and now he's going to the federal level. And I don't want to steal your thunder too much, but just so you guys know, just because we're federal, we can't do our job without the state and locals. And I don't know about Rutherford, but I know we have 2 East Rutherford sergeants on our task force in Newark. So we all work hand in hand together. Yeah, one of yours too, okay. So we have three Rutherford cops on our task force. So we all work together to do this job. And just to give you a little bit of insight, as a federal agent, once he graduates the academy, he's not just gonna have jurisdiction in the United States, he has jurisdiction in the whole world. And we have an office in Seoul, Korea, right at the American Embassy. I've hired 2 Korean Americans in the last 2 years. I have one I was just with today doing his psychological testing. He's this close to getting the job. He's currently a state trooper with New Jersey State Police. So I believe in diversity, and I see a lot of diversity in this room, and we want you guys to have an opportunity that everybody deserves. Thank you. Any questions? None? So I'm just gonna say one thing. So when I applied to be a federal agent, I was already in law enforcement 5 years, in the military 7 years. We required the experience. The FBI still requires the 3 years of experience, but if you have a master's, only 2 years. We just changed a policy 2 years ago that if you only have a 4-year degree and a 3.0 GPA, you can apply to be a federal agent right out of college. When I came through, that didn't exist. And when the chief was trying to apply, it wasn't like that back then, was it? So they still require work experience. With us, if you speak another language, we can waive the GPA, but if you have a 4-year degree and at least a 3.0 GPA, you can apply to be a federal agent. I have one in the academy right now, just turned 23 years old, graduates in 2 weeks. No problems in Quantico. Yes, ma'am.
So how can high school students apply for internship?
Once they finish their freshman year, they can apply for the internship. We have our own website and it goes through me. And most of the colleges, our internship program, we have the paid one and we also have the volunteer internship program. But normally the schools give you 3 to 6 college credits for doing the internship. And you don't have to be a criminal justice major. You can major in anything, nursing, pharmacy, etc. But it's good to get that experience on your resume, you know, like you have this leadership program here on your resume. You did an internship with the Drug Enforcement Administration, United States Department of Justice. And just real quick, did you do an internship?
No, sir. I didn't have that opportunity, but if, like I said, that opportunity had came about, I would definitely do it, you know, drug enforcement, ATF, or any other federal agency.
And what made you leave Capitol Police and apply to be a federal agent?
That's always been my, you know, dream job as a Colombian, you know, parents being Colombian, always seeing Pablo Escobar and all these other, you know, different drug lords and stuff. And I used to see a lot of TV. My parents talk about how they, you know, were raised back then during that era, you know, with the Cali cartel, Medellin cartel, things like that. So it always inspired me to want to do better and catch all the bad guys. And I knew narcotics was my favorite thing to do. It was my dream. So, you know, I was blessed and fortunate to have the opportunity Agent Jennings and be hired and go into the academy soon.
Yes, sir.
I strongly suggest doing internships because we do it in Rutherford for local college students, and it helps. You know, like I said, all the officers that I hired have college backgrounds, college degrees, and I have accountants. One girl was a chemical engineer from NJIT. Nice. A whole range of things that had nothing to do with law enforcement and criminal justice. And they all had their mind set on doing what they did in college. And once they got out into the real world, they really didn't enjoy what they were doing and wanted to do something they enjoyed. So they took a chance with law enforcement, and they absolutely right. Those people who can do an internship early is good, so you can get a feel for what law enforcement is. That way, you do what you want to do in college, and hopefully it all works out. But if you don't like what you're doing, you always have that taste of law enforcement. You know what it's about, so yeah, you can always come back to it.
And the caveat on what the chief just said, 95% of the applicants that do come through the process have done some type of internship, whether it was Saddlebrook PD or Rutherford PD, State Police. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And this is all about networking, as Mr. Reagan always loves to say. Yeah. Thank you.
Networker, Mr. Ronnie Reagan.
Thank you, Chief. While everyone's bringing up internships, our office offers internships as well, and it's usually through my department. And I have to tell you, the biggest problem I have with internships, I never get rid of the interns. For probably the last 10 years, they keep writing me, calling me, and so it's great when you can change someone's life and help them, mold them, guide them, and I'm blessed, and that's why I'm here doing this with you guys. And I'm sitting at my table tonight, I'm talking to my table, and I'm asking them what their goals in life are, and a lot of you here really aren't sure. Whether you want to be an engineer, you think you might want to be a lawyer, you're just on the borderline of thought. And how many students have LinkedIn? 2? 3? If you don't have it, you should sign up for it. And LinkedIn is a great method of networking. And if you have thoughts of a career, if you think I want to be an engineer, you can look up engineers, find a company or a person that you think is very respectable and successful, and through LinkedIn, you can send them a message. And your message should be, I'm a high school student, I'm a sophomore, a freshman, a junior, and I'm really not sure what career path I want to take. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about your career? And now you've opened a door, and I can tell you, pretty much most people are going to accept your friendship and they're going to answer your questions. And after you work it for a couple of times back and forth, one of the things you can ask is there a chance for me to shadow at your office for a day? And it's a little bit gutsy, sending these messages, but I can tell you, people answer and people like to help. And you'll find with LinkedIn, sometimes I surprise myself how many people will accept your friendship, will open the door. It's different than on Facebook or regular social media. And it will also tell you, for instance, if you put Chief Kugler in there, you're going to see his whole career path. You know, from when he first came out and went into the family business, to being a police officer, to being a police sergeant, a chief, a detective. I didn't look him up, but that's pretty much what you see. And it gives you an idea of, this is the kind of person I may want to be, and just have the guts to send them a note. It works. You have to sign up to LinkedIn to send them the message, but you'll find there's every career possible on every level, and I would tell you, shoot high. You know, don't look for an entry-level engineer, look for the head of the engineering department. And if they can't help you, they'll have somebody in your department let you shadow them. So, just words of wisdom I try to help you with. Driving here tonight, I'm trying to remember, I've done so many classes here, I can't remember what I told who. And you're going to find, I think, except from probably law enforcement, many of you will go into a career and change 2 or 3 times. I don't know if your parents have. I'm on 3rd career, and you're really not sure what you want to be, so you get a taste of it, and you get kind of bored with it, it's not exactly what you thought, and so you may change to something else. But anyway, I thank you. Part of my selfishness is being here is I learned just as you learned from the chiefs, from the DEA, and I see several state troopers leave and go to work for you. You know, friends of my daughter. My daughter's CIA, but she has a lot of friends and in your office. But thank you, and you're always welcome to contact me. You all have my contact information. If there's something you're not sure about, something you don't want to speak to your parents about, send me a text or call me. So thank you.
Okay, our next special guest is a criminal investigator with the New Jersey Department of Treasury. And I'd like at this time to welcome Genevieve Bejarano up here.
I am Special Agent Genevieve Bejarano, New Jersey Treasury. I have worked with the New Jersey Treasury since 2012. Originally, I was a civil investigator, and basically just enforcing civil actions at that point. New Jersey Treasury is very unique, where we have our own department in-house, and they only hire special agents from within their civil investigators. So if you have a job, you are looking for to go onto the law enforcement, Treasury is not a bad idea because they are only looking for people within their own house. They don't really want to have to retrain everybody with the tax laws and everything like that. So it's a good venture. And just to piggyback on what you guys were saying, and I was telling my table before, internships are the best thing that you could do. I graduated from Rutgers. Right before I graduated, I had an internship at the Roseville Park Police Department. They knew I was about to graduate in a month, and my internship was about to end in a month. They offered me a position as a dispatcher. I took that position, and while I was there, I did an unpaid internship at the Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office. With that internship, I had a better resume and was able to get a job at the Union County Prosecutor's Office as a clerk in the grand jury. With that job, I was able to then go to the Treasury Department and become a civil investigator. And when it came time to apply for the criminal division, even though I was, I literally just had a baby, and was not in shape yet because of my resume, they hired me. And they believed that I was going to get in shape and be ready to, run in Seegert and be ready by the time I needed to be. So if you build on your resume, it's really hard to deny that you belong there, that you deserve that job. It's the hardest job to get and the easiest to lose. So with New Jersey Treasury, a lot of people probably haven't heard about that department. We work for the state. We enforce the tax laws of the state of New Jersey. The motto is protecting the revenue. We work with local municipal departments, state agencies, federal agencies, basically any level that anybody needs assistance. I did pass out a very outdated cigarette pamphlet. It's one of the things that we do enforce on one level. The other side of Treasury is financial. We have a lot of auditors that are in the Treasury Department that also come over and they have a financial background. And I think I handed out a couple cases that were in the media that went through the prosecutor's office. You don't realize that right at the bottom it says prosecutor's office and Treasury assisted with filing charges. One of them is a cigarette case out of Newark. She was smuggling from Virginia. She ended up getting charged and arrested by us and Newark PD. Another one was, I don't know, probably was in the news, a lot of you have heard that benefit scandal in Bigwood. It was the prosecutor's office down there and a lot of our auditors and some special agents that assisted with that. And then there's another one that a lot of New Jersey residents found it easy to start filing taxes in Hawaii and started getting benefits from Hawaii. Hawaii got wise to the situation, contacted our department, and we were able to file charges after doing our own investigation.
Che bella cosa, giornata e sole, l'aria fresca, una tempesta, bell'aria fresca, serenata festa, che bella cosa, la giornata e sole. Tu sole, che bello in me, oh sole mio, sto di fronte a te, oh sole mio, sto di fronte a te. Stare a fronte a te. Una eterna noche